In this video, we will step through a hands-on example demonstrating the theory presented in the previous videos. We will use the model that we created in one of the earlier videos and prepare it for real-time simulation in RT-Lab. If not already done, create a new RT-Lab project and import the RT-Demo1 init model. We can open the model in Simulink through the RT-Lab interface and start by running the model offline to see how it functions. Open the scopes to see the response of the system and the control effort. We can also adjust the reference with the slider. Here, we can see that by adjusting the reference with the slider, the system reacts following the set point. Notice also the progression of the time in Simulink. The model is executing very fast because it is quite simple. Our first step in model preparation will be to identify which parts will run on the target and which parts will run on the host. On the left, we have the blocks representing the controller and plant in orange and green. On the right, we have our interface blocks in blue. By selecting the controller and plant blocks, we can create a subsystem that will be running on the target. We will get into naming later. Now, let us select the remaining blocks, which will be the user interface. After some reorganization, we are left with this. Now that we have subsystems, we will name the blocks while paying special attention to the prefixes so that they run in the appropriate places, either on the target or on the host. Here, we will name this one the SM_ prefix so that it runs on the target. For the user interface block, we'll use the prefix SC_. This ensures that this part of the model runs on the host. Once the blocks have been named, we can move on to the next step, which is adding the OpCom blocks so that the two systems can communicate. The OpCom blocks can be found in the RT-Lab library. Because there's only one input signal, we leave the number of imports as 1. Moving on to our GUI block, we can add another OpCom block for the incoming signals from our plant. There are 2 incoming signals, so we change the number of imports accordingly. Making this modification changes the block. We can connect the imports to the OpCom input and the OpCom outputs to the scopes. Remember, these OpCom blocks are necessary because they will bridge the gap between 2 physically separate systems, the target and the host computer. Also note that the OpCom block used in the console subsystem has additional parameters when compared to the OpCom block used in the computational subsystems. We will explore this in future videos. We have now decoupled our model into 2 separate subsystems. Lastly, we need to select a fixed-step solver and ensure that the signal storage reuse and block reduction settings are unchecked. This will be explained in more detail in a future video. Let us test and make sure that it still runs offline. If it does not run in Simulink, it will not run in real time. We can open the scopes and verify that the operation is as expected. Bringing the scopes in view, we can see that adjusting the reference causes the system response to adjust to follow the reference value. It still behaves as it did before, which makes sense, because we did not change anything except the way the blocks are grouped. Let's configure our model to run on a target in real time. First, we'll make sure that our model is assigned to our target. Go to the model in the Project Explorer, right-click the model, then go to Simulation and Build Configurations. In this example, an OP4510 target is used, but this could be any Opal RT simulator. The compilation process from RT-Lab converts the Simulink model into C code, then transfers it to the target which converts it to a Linux executable. After compilation, we can go to the Assignation tab in the Overview. Here, we can see that the SM plant subsystem has been assigned to the OP4510 target. In other words, the calculation elements of our system will be running on the simulator. Now that we've made that check, we can go ahead and load the model. Once the model has been loaded onto the target, the user interface subsystem will appear. The yellow label indicates that this will be our user interface to control the model. To execute the model, we return to RT Lab and press on the Execute button. Now the model is running in real time on the simulator. We can return to the user interface and open the scopes to make sure the signals are behaving as expected. Bringing the scopes into view, we can adjust the reference slider and observe the system following. Notice how the response of the plant is slower compared to when we were running the model offline. The model is running in real time. Last, to stop our simulation, press the Reset button. Note that after stopping, we can immediately load the model again. It is not necessary to recompile the model, as long as no changes have been made to it.